Hello everybody, this is Diane. I want to show you what my next project is going to be. This is what I'll be working on this week. I am making some glue books and I wanted to let you see what the covers are. I already have pages in them. Well, I haven't started doing anything with them except choosing the papers and cutting them to size, and each book is a different size. So I had to cut pages for each book separately. So I'll give you dimensions as I go. This one is so cute. It's called My Picture Dictionary, and inside each book there is one page from the book in each signature, so you will get a part of the book inside it. This one is 6.5 wide and 9 1/4 tall, so this is the smallest one. I love the illustrations on this. It is so cute. There's the back. And I have the 3 signatures ready. I have to do a little work on them before I put them in, and then of course I'll have to build the cover. This one is going to need some TLC, but it was too cute to get rid of. It's a wonder book for children, favorite nursery tales, but look at those illustrations. You can see the book was taped together, so there's markings there and it's torn there where the tape was removed. Some of that will be covered with the fabric that I use, but I may have to add something else to it. Sorry if that wasn't in frame. I need to clean it up. I haven't tried cleaning any of that stuff off. But it's so cute. And the inside is precious. And in all of the books except for this one, I had to construct pages that would be big enough. So I just, again, used my scraps. That's what I do. I take my cut-offs and sew them together to get a page that's big enough. And that helps me use up my scraps. This one is 7 1/4 by almost 10, not quite 10, 9 3/4 maybe. This one I love, Stories About Linda and Lee. So it's a school book. And again, it has the built-up pages. All the pages are not the same size as the book, but I like to have the first page of each signature be large, you know, to fill up the book, and then other pages within are smaller. Let me see if I can find, this is from this book, the Stories of Linda and Lee book. And we'll go, as I work in the journals, we'll talk more about the kinds of papers that are in them. Here's the back. It's really cute. Crossing guard. And this measures 7 5/8, I think, inches by 10 1/2. Here's another similar type of book. This one is called Your Town and Mine. Another large children's reader. 7 3/4 by almost 10 1/2. So it's almost the same size as the Stories About Linda and Lee. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. It's just white on the inside. And there's the back. The Teagues Adams Social Studies series. And then this one's adorable. The Pooh Storybook. And this one is a little on the smaller side, 7 inches by 10 1/4. So let's just start with this book. Let's go through it and see what we need to do to the pages. I've got some envelopes here I want to add in, and some index cards, some tabbed cards that I want to add in. So we'll just take the first signature Comes upside down. I bet it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's just take this signature. So this one is pieced together papers, and I like the way this one looked because I used a scallop circle punch and had punched some things out of there, and then when I pieced the paper together I just sewed those pieces together so that the scallop is still there, and I thought it looked cute. That was in my pile of stitched together paper, so I just added it to this. So we have that. We have a book page. So glue books are for you to just glue in, collage in, glue stuff down, so whatever is on these pages you can glue around. If you wanted to keep that little image, you could glue around it and make it part of your collage, or cover it all up. So I don't try to choose really pretty pages or images. I don't use my favorite scrapbook papers because we're going to cover them up anyway. I need to see which pages I need to trim, so I thought I had to trim this one. I'm going to make this a little narrower. So obviously this is a calendar. It was a freebie from a library, and it has pictures of children's book illustrations, and it's about the authors, and then each calendar page has the names of children's book authors on their birth dates. I thought that was cute. Then there's this page from the Stampington and Company magazines. I guess I don't need to zoom in anymore. The artist papers that they put in some of their magazines. I put some of those in these books. This is from a vintage Handyman's Pattern instruction book. I thought sorry, it's a very large sheet, so I love these for doing big books like this, but I didn't trim it down quite enough. There's a little bit of wallpaper here. I need to get some more wallpaper because not all of the books got wallpaper, but I want to make sure they get them because I love putting wallpaper in these books because you can do mixed media or paint on them or just glue on them. There's another calendar page. Let me see if I need to trim anything else. I guess I didn't trim that one enough. Okay, so we have a calendar page, and this is another book page. This was a large book with kind of weird illustrations. Scrapbook paper. This was the envelope that the Handyman instruction pattern came with. So I just cut a little notch in the flap so you can put something in there. In fact, I will probably put a large card in there. Let me see if I can find one right here. This one might be too big. Yeah, I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Put a yellow one in the other side. I got to go to a wedding yesterday on the 4th of July. It was an outdoor wedding, but it was, I'm gonna tape this up with some washi tape. It was in the evening, so it got cooler once the sun started going down. It started at 6 o'clock. But I was there 2 hours early. Well, not quite 2 hours early, because my son was in the wedding. And I didn't want to drive myself, so I rode with him, and he had to be there early. But it was a small wedding, outdoors. But it was actually in the barn, the bride's father's barn, a new structure. So we were in the shade at least. But it was nice. A nice young man. I've been friends with his family for years. And it was nice to get to go to that. So I need to repair that edge too. So we'll just add a little more washi tape. Got to tell you what else I did this weekend. I was watching my granddaughter on Thursday, Layla. You remember Layla from my videos when I used to let my grandkids be in my videos before YouTube got nuts about children. Anyway, she's 9.5 now. We walked to my mailbox on Thursday, and walking back, and I tripped on uneven part of the road or something. Tripped on something, and I went flying, and I landed hard. My knee hit the ground hard, and then my wrist, my hands tried to catch myself. You know how you try to brace yourself when you should just let yourself go. This signature is all set. Oh, except I want to add one of these in there, but how am I going to do that? I have to put a hinge on it. So we're going to do that. So my wrist is sore. I should have my wrist brace on right now. But I didn't put my wrist brace on. I wore it to work the day after I fell. And it's actually more sore today than it was yesterday, because I didn't wear my wrist brace at all yesterday. So I should probably put it on today. I have to work tomorrow. So both wrists were sore, but this one hit the hardest, so it was worse. And both knees hit, but my left knee hit the hardest. I must have landed more on that side. So I've got bruises on my knees, scrapes, a little bit of scrapes. There wasn't like bleeding. So what I'm going to do is attach this card to this, and then I'll attach some other flappy thing to that end. So you can have two little flappy things in here. Yeah, it shook me up pretty badly. And Layla was very solicitous and, you know, tried to help me up. She held her hand out to me. I didn't want to take her hand because I was afraid I would pull her down. So I just, you know, got up by myself, but I had to limp home because my knee hurt, and I was just so shaken up by it. I was hurting because I landed on my, like, full on my front. My knees hit first, and then I just went down. So I felt foolish, of course, but I also felt sore. So that's what I did this weekend. I'm trying to find some kind of a large card that I can put here. Maybe I'll just use a scrap of paper. I'll just put this in here. So we got back to the house, and I just got on the couch. I asked Layla if she would just grab me a bottle of water, and I told her where my ibuprofen was and asked her to bring that to me. She was real good about helping me out and then letting me rest for a while. We were supposed to go to dinner at our pastor's, and our pastor has two little children, and Layla loves going there and playing with, especially Sierra. She's 3.5, charming little girl, and Mac is, I think he's just 2. I think he's 2. So I asked Layla if she'd be disappointed if we didn't go, and she said kind of, which meant yes. So I was feeling well enough to be able to go to dinner. This one looks pretty good. I don't have to trim anything down. Actually, I didn't really have to trim anything down because this page ended up being shorter than the other pages. So let's see how it fits in here. I think nothing would have stuck out. Yeah. That signature is quite a bit narrower than the others. Oh well. That's fine. Maybe I'll put this in the middle. But it doesn't matter. I have made glue books where the front page was smaller than the other pages, and I think it's kind of fun to do that. So I don't know why I have adapted this mode. Let's see, adopted this mode. I'm always leery of vintage magazine pages, so I'm going to reinforce that with this scrap of paper. So on the 4th of July, I went to the Tioga Downs flea market, the one that's in the barns, and showed my haul. So that was fun. And I had some time, because it was hot, I had some time after that, to actually, do the video and kind of sort things out a bit and rest a little bit, because I don't do well in the heat. I don't know why I folded that. I should not have folded that. It makes it harder because if I don't line the folds up exactly right, it looks all funky. So I'm just going to do a different one. I'll do a different strip. So I just put tape on it. I've done this before on video. Tape, glue, whatever you want to use. And lay it on the fold. And then fold the paper again, and that will fold your strip. So now that's reinforced, and when you sew through it, it's not going to tear. If this tears while you're sewing through it, it won't matter because it's attached to that. There's a book page. This is a piece of grid paper that was on a roll, a big roll of paper, and I think it's for engineers or something like that. So that's great for using in large journals, even though it's a thin paper, because it's big. So I have to have some large papers. This is scrapbook paper. This is a pattern page that came out of a craft book. This would just confuse me to all get out, trying to make anything out of that. You're supposed to lay a tracing paper over it and trace the pattern you want, but good grief. No, thank you. I think this is from this book. And then this is from a sketchbook, an old vintage one. Old and vintage, you know. And this is another of the artist papers. So there's no envelope in this one. I am just going to add an envelope. Trying to think how I want to do it. I'm not fond of doing it this way because I find it difficult to get things in and out like that. So I could find a sturdy paper that's big enough. Maybe it would have to be this one. I could put it on like that. You'd have a little tuck spot here. You could get into the envelope there and you could flip it out and collage all over the place. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm just gonna put some glue on this. And this fits in there without being cut. So you can do all kinds of collaging here. You can collage on the flap, put something in here that you can collage on. Collage on the envelope, on the back of the envelope, and on the card. I like that there's a different color inside the envelope. And you can collage here. This is an old Currier and Ives. Well, it's not that old. It's 1986. Calendar. I didn't finish my sentence. It's a calendar. All right, now we're going to add a card. I'm going to use a larger piece of paper this time. So the larger piece of paper itself will be the flap on the other side. And I'm going to use my scoreboard because it's easier to fold heavier paper with a scoreboard. My little scoring tool's not in there. I usually am good about putting it back, but sometimes I don't. That's not the one that goes in there. It's not in there. I'll come across it eventually. So this will go in here, and then this will be right there. There goes my air conditioner. 747 taken off. It's in the 90s today. It's going to be hot all week. It was hot last week. But it is July. Okay, so I think this signature is pretty well done. The signatures look pretty scrawny when I complete a glue book, because you are going to fill it up with your glued images and fatten that book right up. It will get fat. So again, the piece together paper, this is a long legal pad. I had to actually trim it because it's that long. Maybe I didn't for this book, but I did for most of them. Here's a page from the book itself. Scrapbook paper. This is a book page. This is from a photo album. It's got the decal edge. It had decals on the top and bottom too, but I had to trim the bottom off, so it's still deckled at the top. And this is from the 1980s. There is a full little flap here where it was attached to the album, some holes, so use your imagination and do some cool stuff with that. Another scrapbook paper, another book page. This came out of the Teddy Bear book, Teddy Bear time chart. And more pattern from the craft book. This came from a large book. And this is from a tablet, a daily planner tablet. So this signature does not have an envelope either. Let's use a different type of envelope. I have this parchment paper one, and I already cut the notch out of it so that when it's sewn into the signature, you'll be able to open the flaps. That's not the right size. So 4 1/4 by 4 inches, I think should do it. Perfect. There we go. We'll put this right here. I'm going to get some other cards. I don't need to use a tabbed card in every signature. So I've got some other large cards. I'll be right back. I have, these are card catalog cards. I could use those. I've got some large cards here. I don't want to use anything too pretty though. These are all postcards and stuff, so maybe that was a bad idea. Well, let's use one of these. Trying to keep things more or less out of my way. Here's a scrap of paper that I cut from the sewn together papers, and it's got this little tiny strip of yellow gingham stitched to it. I think that's kind of cute looking. So we'll use this for our hingy piece. So this is just paper, not cardstock, so I'm just going to fold it. Find a place to put it. Put it right in here. There. So each of the signatures has the card on a hinge, and each signature has an envelope. I don't want this one right in the front because I don't want that to get caught. So I'm going to put this one in the front. So this journal is all ready to have the cover constructed. So I'm going to make the spine much wider than it needs to be because it really doesn't need much of a spine right now. But like I said, you're going to fatten it up when you start gluing. So I'm going to make it 2 inches. Should probably make it 2.5 inches. That's not going to work. There's some Tyvek. So that'll work if I open it up that way. I'm going to get my cardboard, chipboard. My closet door is so noisy because I have the shoe pouch on it with all my punches. Kind of a pain, but it's the best place to keep them. So I'm going to make my spine 2.5 inches. Should use a knife, but I don't like using the knives if I don't have to. Oops, I kind of went downhill. Make sure it's the right size now. Yep, it is. Perfect. Now I'm going to take my Tyvek and mark the width I need so that it will attach all 3 pieces together. I don't need to be super straight in cutting this because it's all going to be covered up. So I want it to be that tall. put my tools away, and they are where I expect them to be the next time I need them. I have a habit of using them and then just dropping them, and then they get covered up with stuff. I bet we all do that, don't we? I'm using my red line tape. That's what I call it. It comes in different brands, whatever, depending on what craft store you get it from, but it's just got a red liner on it. It's clear once you remove the red liner, but it's really strong and I like it. The only thing I don't like about it is removing the liner. You've seen me fight with that before. I have made covers on videos before, but I often get questions. I refer people back to the videos, but here's a new one. Here is a glue book tutorial, I guess, on how to put the book together. So I've got the tape on the edges of the book and all sides of the chipboard. I'm going to burnish the tape down so that I can separate the liner from the adhesive more easily, hopefully. It will push the adhesive down, and when I try to lift up the liner, the adhesive will stay put. That's the theory anyway. Now let's try it. Here's one. There's two. That pulled up the adhesive. We're getting there. One more to do. I didn't get out any fabric or anything. I didn't really have a plan when I turned the camera on, except I was going to work on prepping the glue book. So I didn't think ahead to get fabric out for my spine, but we can do that. Okay, so I use the grid on my mat to line up this piece and then line the others up with it. And I just put a tiny little space between the covers and the spine piece. I think if you make the space too big, it makes the cover floppy. And I'm going to take my Tyvek, which has been cut, and just lay it down over all three pieces and press it down into the tape. I didn't center it very well, so it's far enough on this, so that's fine, but there's too much paper there, so I'm just going to cut it off. And it's going to be jagged, but it's okay because it will be covered. So, press that down into the tape. And there's our cover. Now we need to get some fabric for it. Get my box of fabric, it's right over here. This might be a fun piece. So our book is red and navy. How about that? Maybe. I thought of using that for a farm journal, but maybe the colors are right. And there's a red polka dot. I think I'd rather focus on the blue than the red. See if that would work. It's got pink in it, but we'll try it. I pull out possibilities and then I try them on, so to speak, or audition them. I don't know if that one's big enough. Okay, let's see if we have something. Now that would be cute. This isn't big enough to wrap all the way around, but I could put something. I really like this one. I could just put another piece of fabric on the inside, maybe a gingham or something. That's really cute. I don't think I want to go with the bandana prints or the polka dots. This one's the best, in my opinion. So, I flip it over so I can see the width of my Tyvek. And I make it just a little bit wider than the Tyvek. It's a selvage. I might as well keep the selvage. Nice finished edge. Okay, we can glue this down and then we can select something to cover the inside part. This is going pretty quickly, isn't it? I've made these covers so many times, I feel like I could make them in my sleep. But then I would miss out on the fun of picking out my fabrics. I love picking out the fabrics and the trims to complement the book covers. And the end papers, if I'm going to cover the end papers. I probably will on this just because it's kind of boring. They're in good condition. There's no markings on them. They do look vintage because it is vintage. But maybe to make it a little more fun, we'll add end papers. Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Supposed to do this first. I'm getting glue all over my nicely cleaned mat. Got it on the cover. Okay. That'll be covered up with some trim because I got some glue right there. Maybe instead of gingham, I'll use this. Let's see if we like it. Yeah, we'll go with the gingham. Either one would have been fine, but I have a lot of gingham. So I want it to be, I'm going to get rid of this wrinkled up edge because I don't want to iron. I want it to be the same width as this fabric, but I don't measure. I just lay it out and cut. When I went to the flea market at the barns, the lady that runs there's two barns. They're all the Tioga Downs General Store, but a lady runs the first barn that I always go into, and then a man runs the other barn. And the lady, they both know me as soon as I come in, and they both accommodate me. Especially the lady. She asked me yesterday if there's anything in particular I'm looking for. She clears out estates and she just wants to know what I'm looking for. Sometimes she finds things that she would just throw away and she'll bring them in and ask me if I want them for free. So she gives me free stuff. But she asked me what's one thing I'm looking for, and I said I would really love to find some handwritten recipe cards. She said, "Do you know how many of them I throw away?" I said, "Don't throw them away." She said, "I won't. I'll give them to you." So, since she throws them away, she might mean that she'll just give them to me for free, but I mean, I'd be willing to pay for them. We all like the handwritten recipe cards, don't we? I hoard them when I find them, but if she found enough, then I could sell some. Now, I want to put some trim on those edges. I think I'll grab another bottle of my 3-in-1 glue just in case, because it seems to be running low. I will not grab another bottle of that because I don't have any more. So I hope Walmart has it in stock when I go to work tomorrow. They're not very good about keeping stuff in stock anymore. I have some rickrack and I have some GIMP. So we have red and navy But I think I might like to go with the tan that's in that fabric. I believe that GIMP trim is used in upholstery. And I keep finding it at flea markets, which is awesome. So I found a whole bunch of it from an upholsterer. Somebody had cleaned out an upholsterer's supply of something. And so I bought a bunch of it. And I haven't run out since because I keep finding more. Never that much, but I keep finding more. And I always grab it because I like it for these. Yeah, that covers up the spot where the glue was. So we'll go with that. Since I have 5 glue books I'm working on, it'd be nice if I could sew one together tonight. I don't want to try to sew 5 together in one day. So if my wrist will let me, maybe I'll sew this together tonight. I say tonight because I usually do it while I'm watching TV in the evening. TV or YouTube. I haven't been watching a lot of YouTube lately. I miss it. Yeah, I'm running out. There, that looks nice. Now what are we going to do on the inside? So our choices would be to cover up this raw edge, or you can leave the raw edge, you don't have to cover it. But I want to cover it. I think I made that a little too long. See if I can trim that a little bit. I don't know. I'll just glue it down better. I think I'll mess it up if I try to trim it. Come on, glue. So I could put trim on here to cover up the raw edge, or I could put end papers, which would cover the raw edge. And I think, as we discussed, we're going to go for the end papers. I'm just going to move a couple of things out of my way. I've got my box of fabric here and my drawers of trims. So let's look for paper. Now this might be perfect, but I want to have 2 of the same thing if I can. Don't remember what paper pad that came out of. Not that one. I think it came out of, no. Yeah, it came out of this one. But this one's almost empty. Yep, no more navy. Well, let's try this pad. This one has a lot, it's pretty full. If I can get a hold of it. It's pretty full, so I should be able to find 2 of the same kind in there.